Hello guys, today I have a special guest here, Kevin Prociw, who is running for mayor of Eugene, Oregon against the infamous Kitty Piercy.
Indeed.
Now, why did you get involved in doing this?
Well, essentially, my beginnings in politics started with the Beltline issue when they went to rename Beltline Road after Randy Pape. And I had started a group that was opposed to the renaming of the highway, mostly for fiscal reasons, the cost of going out and changing all the signs, and it had nothing to do with who it was being renamed for. But out of that came a group that we started called Lane County Citizens for Responsible Government, which is a government watchdog group. So we were watching local issues, paying attention to all the things that were going on here in Lane County, and mostly in Eugene, but sometimes in other areas too. And so when the mayoral race came up, we were looking at that and going, well, let's see who runs, see who jumps in there. Well, we kept hearing that nobody was going to run against Kitty Piercy because she was a shoo-in, and that was just, the way it was going to be. And like, well, if,
Okay. So you're running against her. Election is May 15th?
May 15th, yes.
And there is one other man running.
Mm-hmm. His name is John Walrud.
Okay, and do you know anything?
Essentially, I don't know a whole lot about him. He seems to be just somebody who we have no idea where he came from, but he filed at the last moment, right in the last week before the deadline and such.
So there's no way to even find much about him right now at this point.
Yeah, at this point we don't know much. Hopefully we'll hear more as the time goes on and the media starts interviewing candidates as well.
So ultimately, you need enough support at this point to take more than 50% of the vote in the primary and unseat Kitty Piercy. Is that your objective at this point?
That would be the goal. The way that it works is that in May, you've got the three of us that are on the ballot, and whoever the top two are will go on to November. However, anybody who receives more than 50% of the vote, if that happens, then that person automatically wins, and that would be the only name on the November ballot. So for me, I want to win this in May, just to be done with it.
Get it over with.
Get it over with, sure.
All right, so now when you become elected, how are you going to work with the city councilors to get anything done in Eugene?
That'll be an interesting challenge depending on who's in city council too, because there's a couple of, all four, there's 8 councilors, 4 of them are up for election right now, but only one of them is actually running opposed, and that's Betty Taylor. So we're pretty much looking at having the same city council. Now that might also change too, because we have Pat Farr, who is running for commissioner, and should he win against Rob Handy and become a commissioner, then that seat would be open. So that would maybe change the council a little bit. And so I think that really it's about putting aside the political differences that we all have and just working on the issues and just basically providing leadership where I'm not going to impose my own view, but essentially just to be able to guide the council in making decisions. I'm, as a mayor, I would have influence, but no voting power unless it's as a tie-breaking vote. So.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, Kevin, one of the hot topics right now with the City of Eugene is a proposed ban of plastic bags.
Oh, yes, the bag.
What is your view on that?
Well, I would say that I think that everybody wants to be a good steward of the environment, and as such, we want to take care of our planet, and we could do that. We could ban plastic bags, and people would just see them. They wouldn't be there when they go to use them, but they wouldn't learn anything either. They wouldn't know, why it is that we ban these bags. Whereas I think that well, that's kind of an infringement on freedom in a way. It's like you now no longer have this choice that you had before. Wouldn't it be a better idea to teach people and to educate people, and instead of imposing something on them, let them learn about the issues and opt into it themselves? And so my feeling is that government imposition is not the way to go, but rather more of an education process.
Okay, so you don't want to put the full force of the government down on the people to just strictly ban these bags.
Right.
You'd rather have true education and people making the right choice
Exactly.
for the environment.
And then we see too that like there's already, I believe, 60 different businesses in Eugene that are wanting they want the ban, but they don't have to have a ban to stop offering plastic bags at their stores. So wouldn't it be better just to go ahead and have those stores do that, stop offering the plastic bags, start offering other options? Because that would be a great way to educate people. People come in, oh, can I get plastic bag? Well, no, we stopped offering those plastic bags. Why? Not because of government ban, because we choose as a business to support the environment and to take better care of our planet. And so now people have a way of learning things where, it's like, oh, the government came in and they just, the city banned them. It just seems wrong. It flies in the face of what I call accountable, responsible government, which is my platform.
All right. Now, another hot topic in Eugene right now is the proposed West 11th EMX bus route. What do you think about that?
Well, I am a proponent of public transit and mass transit where it's needed, but I'm also a proponent of a bus system that fits the needs of our city. And the West 11th MX, to me, doesn't have the qualifications that I would seek for putting in a rapid transit line in. So, for instance, we can look and we can see the first EMX line, the one that goes between Eugene Station and Springfield Station. And we can see that there are discernible destination points along the way. You've got the two stations on either end, you've got the University of Oregon in the middle. That makes sense. That one cost $27 million to build. I wasn't exactly, it's been successful, but you actually have to look at the reasons as to why that was successful. They eliminated routes. Those routes essentially forced ridership onto that particular MX bus. They also eliminated the Thurston run, which used to go all the way from Thurston into Springfield and then on to Eugene. Well, now you can't do that. You have to transfer to an MX if you want to make it to Eugene. So they forced all this and they also made it free for the first year. So they forced all this ridership onto that bus. That's how they got the numbers that they wanted, and that's how they make that look good. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So
if you get elected, what are you going to do about this EMX?
It really depends on where the process is at right now, because already essentially the last step that has to happen for the West 11th MX is they're just finishing up the environmental impact study. And then there's going to be some public hearings that are held after that. And then after that, supposedly, and there's mixed messages on this, there would be another vote by City Council and by Lane Transit and then by the MPC, which is the Metropolitan Policy Commission, I believe. So there's this vote that would take place. Now, if all that happens before I'm sworn into office, I can't make a change on that I know of. We might be able to fight it afterwards, or that would remains to be seen. But they would actually, from my understanding, the project might be started before I even get into office. So. Okay.
Now, going back, you've had some stories about you in the Register Guard. One was about your stepfather, even. Has any of that been resolved? In the Register Guard article, it really talked about how your relationship was strained, and he was even trying to accuse you of being an anti-Christian. Can you clear this up for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, there has been a falling out between my stepfather and I, but it really actually kind of goes to some personal issues. My mother has Alzheimer's, and she's in a care facility right now. My stepfather has decided that he wants to move on with his life, and as such, he's in a relationship with somebody else right now. And as my mother's son, I don't exactly approve of that relationship going on while he's still married to my mother. And so this this has caused, I mean, basically that's when everything came down. And so he hasn't just cast me out of the family. He's done so to everybody on my mother's side of the family.
Wow.
So
I can't believe that. Oh my, we did not get the full story from the local newspaper.
Yes, I told them the whole story, but they chose only to print the
horrible.
pieces that were that they thought they wanted the public to hear. So yes, my stepfather went to the media, to the newspaper, and gave him this big, story about how I'm, anti-Christian, anti-Christ, and that couldn't be further from the truth. My wife and my children are Christians. I'm not, but that doesn't mean that I'm anti-Christian. And so the way that story painted me out was very biased, in my opinion.
Yes, okay. Kevin, big thing in Eugene is jobs.
Yes.
We need jobs.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to bring jobs to Eugene?
All right. Well, is the number one issue. As I go out and I talk to people, they want to know what we're going to do to revitalize the economy in Eugene, and that is a tough challenge, considering that the entire country is experiencing an economic depression. Almost, it's whatever you want to call it, a recession. It's near depression, if you ask me. But however you look at it, we're in trouble, and so. But we can still do things that will help Eugene, and my opinion is really that as I've talked to people, the problem in Eugene is that we're just not a very business-friendly town. There's a lot of reasons that make companies think and hesitate about locating here, and we're actually seeing reasons for companies to move away from here that we're here. So changing that is, we need to look at the regulations that are hindering businesses. We need to look at the permitting process and the things that are basically the red tape that make it difficult for businesses. Even just recently, one of the issues that I found that could be a big hindrance for companies is the fact that eWeb just raised their electricity rates again by 5.5%.
Oh boy.
Yes, which they had just done back in November. We've seen several increases over the last couple of years, and it's just making it to the point where people and businesses can't afford to live in Eugene anymore.
Wow.
So I think that we need to look at all of these things, plus just working together with the Chamber of Commerce and the Lane Metro partnership, headed by Jack Roberts. See if we can actually do some things together that actually make Eugene a better place to live and do
Okay.
business.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin. I hope the best to you. You have my vote.
Well, thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
thank you.